just do it there. Okay, perfect. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another ASEA Global Expansion Team Zoom. We have President and COO Scott Aldred on tonight. And we're going to be talking about this subscription program, which we've talked with Scott about before, but now it's been instituted. So we're just keeping the communication lines open so that you're very clear about what's going on and why we're doing it and how this is going to help us all manage our businesses much better going into the future. So Scott, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's such a pleasure to be on this call.
I know that you're going into your 14th hour of working. So now that your brain is just firing as fast as it has for the past 14 hours, we appreciate you including us in it.
Well, I do my best work in the morning. So it's got to be morning somewhere.
There we go. There we go. Well, Scott, so the subscription program, which was, that program used to be called AutoShip. Now we've changed the terminology to subscription just because most people in the world are more familiar with the term subscription than they are with AutoShip. So we're just making it more customer oriented, right?
That's right. Well, one of the big reasons behind this is the Federal Trade Commission and the compliance that we're looking at as we move the business forward. We have to demonstrate that we have a certain customer base, which we all know we do, but for the FTC, there has to be some certain qualifications. And so one of the really basic ones is changing an auto ship to a subscription and also to run it on a 4-week cycle. So it becomes more of a customer centric. And I do understand for some people that have been on the old program for many, many years, it does cause concern. But rest assured, there's every intention to continue to grow the business and also to mitigate risk as we move the business forward. So that's a little bit behind what we did. It was successful over the weekend. And what this allows us to do is see the number of orders that are successfully processed by Monday morning when we come in, so we can help manage the business. Probably something that everyone doesn't know is that we do allow a limited amount of orders to be backdated, and that's going to go away. So you need to know about that. So as we're processing orders or the subscription orders every Friday, that's so people can help track the volume in their business. And if they have any gaps or need to assist any of the team members on placing an order or something, they have the week to do it instead of scrambling on the weekend or calling in on Monday to do that. So this is in response to move the business forward. Certainly not meant to hurt anyone.
What's that? Opened up a whole heap of questions. Just quickly, can I go back to the FTC?
Yes.
In regards to subscription, does that negate the ratio of associates to preferred customers?
Yeah. So what we have many people in the business that are technically customers, but they're registered as an associate,
right?
As they were brought into the business. So at some point, we're going to need to make a cut from between somebody who's actually engaged in business building activities and it's a legitimate business opportunity, or those that are just simply customers. We know by our ratio of subscriptions that we are customer centric. And so we have to actually demonstrate that for the FTC. So that's one of the reasons for the change. The other big reason is that this leads to another form of helping us mitigate credit card fraud, because the orders that come through on subscription generally are not a fraud order. So this allows us during the week as enrollment orders or new orders come in to more closely monitor those by utilizing our resource that we have currently. And so by separating these, it's pretty common that a subscription would only run on a Saturday. And so it does help us as we move forward with some of those efforts. The business is massively complicated. And I can tell you from my perspective of running the operational side of this business for the last 9, now going on 10 years, the complexity has only increased. Now my view has changed a little bit, And I just don't mean a view from a different office. I mean a view on the business. And so there's other programs that we need to have in place. So I think, and we'll own this as far as the corporate team goes, we did not do a great job of communicating some of the changes. And looking back at some of the corporate communication that was sent, it wasn't clear. It might have been clear to us what was happening, but it was not clear to people that received the message. And some of the things that we don't use language that is always familiar. And I met with the different key leaders in our associate support department. And it was actually Tunde that pointed out to me, she said, think about translating this message into a different language and how difficult it would be. And she said, if we don't understand it in English, people are not going to understand it when it's translated. And we may be using some language that people are not familiar with. So we're using corporate language and using terminology that people generally aren't familiar with. And so we'll own that. We'll definitely do a better job. But we did see markets where this was rolled out a lot better, where people were able to explain it and get out in front of it. So we're sorry for any confusion, but it is running. It was a very busy day as we consolidated orders in North America to one shipping center, which is at the Redock Center today. That was a cost-saving move. So that doesn't have anything to do with the subscription per se, as this was a global rollout. But first response was to help mitigate risk with the Federal Trade Commission.
So that answers
Yeah, that's
the other question, that it is a global rollout. So all of the subscription programs, no matter what the country that you live in, will be collected on Saturday and then shipping that week, right?
Yeah, starting on Monday. And what we did learn today is that we can run all those subscription orders for the week and they'll all be shipped out by Tuesday. About 70% of all those orders globally were shipped today. The remaining 30% will ship tomorrow. And the way that's set up is the zip codes that are closest to the shipping center will ship on the second day. So people won't see much disruption at all. Any of the locations that are at the farthest distance, they'll ship first for sure on Mondays. And it really wasn't that much of a change because we were processing orders over the weekend. Monday was always a big day. But what we did is we kind of front loaded the schedule. It's not convenient from a logistics standpoint. It's actually very difficult. So the logistics team will work 12-hour days on Monday, and then we'll cut them back through the week. And then what it allows them to do is to quickly ship any on-demand or enrollment new orders on Friday and go home with a very short day. So their week is not load leveled. It's very heavy Monday and Tuesday. And then as it progresses throughout the week, it will go down. One of the things we were concerned about was all the different shipping centers all over the world. Remember that they're set up just to be third-party logistics. So they don't have the same flexibility that we do have shipping orders at the Redock Center.
So how have you worked that, Scott, with staff? Do you have any casuals coming in on Monday, Tuesday, or the existing staff can handle?
Yeah, the existing staff simply comes in early on Monday.
Right.
So we tell them to take it easy on the weekend and don't do too much because Monday's going to be a big day. And so that's what they hear today. The other thing we've done at the Redock Center is we've intentionally shifted the production schedule to be very light on Mondays so they can assist with shipping operations. And so we were able to do that. But other of our 3PL partners, our third-party logistic partners, they're not able to do that. So we needed to see if they could handle the loads on Monday.
Yes, Scott, can we jump back to something you said earlier, you just quickly went over it, and that was that all shipping's coming out of the warehouse, out of the production facility, but talk a little bit about how ASEA is actually saving money for us here in the field, because if you were shipping it twice with what's going on with costs right now, our prices would be going up far more than just the Renew 28 scenario.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The last 2 years, as far as cost of shipping, cost of materials, direct labor costs have increased at a rate that we've never seen. And in my 30 plus years, I've never had any experience dealing with these type of costs increases. So this is US specific. We consolidated shipping operations. We used to have 2 locations. We had one in Tennessee and one in Utah. We've consolidated that all to Utah. Now, it seems a little strange, but our most expensive shipping lane for bulk product, or the product that we send to the warehouses, is actually shipping by semi-truck from Utah to Tennessee. That's more expensive than Australia. That's more expensive than Hong Kong, than any other. And it's because the demand for freight movement in the United States is at an all-time high. The US is actually short about 80,000 truck drivers. And what that means is there's a limited supply. The other thing with the price of fuel increasing, that gets directly passed on to shipping costs. Whereas when the international shipments were able to utilize rail, and they go from our location onto the rail to either East Coast or West Coast, depending on where we're shipping it to. So unbelievable. I saw a comment that said, what? It's actually, you would never think that, but it's actually, that's our most expensive shipping lane, was actually by semi-truck from Utah to Tennessee. So that's a big reason why you're seeing such a dramatic increase of the cost of goods at the grocery store, is the transportation costs. And then on top of that, we have material costs increase, which are also driven by transportation costs. And just like nothing we'd ever seen before, we tried to minimize the impact to the business. One of those moves also, which is unrelated, was a subscription. But as far as a price increase, we did as minimal as possible, considering how much we went up. But we could not gain any more efficiencies from production or any of the other operations. We simply had to do a modest price increase. It was largely put on Renew 28, which might seem a little counterproductive, but Renew 28 is 17% of our global business, where the ASEA Redox supplement is 80%. And so we felt like it would be less minimal to impact a smaller piece of our business than just doing across the board, let's say 6% price increase on everything. And what it also demonstrates is we're looking very deeply into the business. We're just not looking at one piece or another. We're looking at all global markets collectively, and we're looking at all products collectively. And we do this to minimize the impact to each one of you as consumers, and help us mitigate this really unprecedented period of inflation. So that's your logistics and economic lesson for tonight.
That's right. So Scott, you said the advantage to us in the field is that with all these orders processing on the Saturday, we're able to see which auto ships are going through and which auto ships are failing. And then we can follow up throughout the week with those that are failed, because oftentimes it's just a credit card that hasn't been updated, or a credit card that's been stolen and they had to, trash that card and start over with a new card or whatever. So it gives us a little bit of time to follow up with those people to make sure that they get their ASEA shipment if they want it, right?
That's right. And the other thing is, we made it as easy as possible in your virtual office to change the date if you need to change it. Some people were concerned of being on a fixed income or wanting to schedule it. You can move that date out to 13 weeks, any Saturday within that 13-week period. It's the same thing at enrollment. During enrollment and the enrollment flow, if a new customer comes onto the business, they have to pick a date. If they do not pick a date, it's the third Saturday after they enroll will be their first subscription processed. Those are all things that we thought through. I know some people thought we didn't, but we did, and it's in the programming, and we made it as simple as possible. And like I said earlier, if there's any part of this that was a weakness, it was in how we communicated the changes. We've not changed anything at all for many years, and so we had a couple of changes that were significant, and we just didn't do a great job of training. I guess maybe we should have got on some Zoom calls and done some training, and we would have really helped people through this.
We're not here to talk to you about that communication. To be honest with you, I thought it was pretty good, the communication with what was going on. You guys killed a lot of birds with one stone with doing this. How long was this in the planning?
This has been over a year. It was actually a year in October since we've been planning this. And it's a massive amount of IT programming. So once we made the final decision, it's been about 5 months of programming in our with our IT systems to allow this. And over the weekend, many of our people in our IT department worked around the clock, monitoring and making sure it was successful. So yeah, it's actually been over a year. It was a year in October that we initially started talking about this. Primarily for transparency in the business. And it's really not uncommon to have this type of model, but we caught some people by surprise, even though we started telling people back in November this was coming.
So
It's
just
funny, I was watching Cindy, I was watching the back office on Saturday. And it's funny you're talking about the IT department. They were working around the clock, because all I was thinking of was the poor IT department on Saturday with what was going on.
Yeah, they were sending regular email updates all throughout the weekend.
I bet.
We try to have some downtime on Saturday, especially on Sunday, but this weekend required that we were all kind of on call monitoring the situation.
Yeah, if you don't mind making a note, and don't want to burst your bubble, because I thought communication was pretty good. Saturday, and strategically, this is great for us in seeing, what was happening with the back office after everything was processed. We did have the failed auto ships in there, but they're not there at the moment. So I'm not too sure if the IT department knows about that.
That was just for your account, Dan. We took that out.
That was just mine.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's all of them. It's all of them.
Okay, I'll check. I don't know if they're running an update or what it is. So. I just thought we were just, messing with you. I don't know.
It's great to have them, so we know at the beginning of the week and we can chase them, and you've got them in one lump sum rather than coming in every day. I love what you've done.
Yeah, and I know it is. We did hear an earful, but we really are looking out for the best interest of the business, and there's a lot of thought and planning that goes into this. And so if we miss the mark a little bit, we apologize for that. We own that. We'll do a better job moving forward, but it is really in response to some of the regulations that we're facing. And remember, we're coming out with new products. So the business is built on a very unique technology, and now the business has to evolve to where we have additional products that need to fit into a certain model. And so the 4-week subscription model works well for us moving forward.
So Scott, just to reiterate what you said just a minute ago, was if somebody enrolls, after they enroll, they place their enrollment order, then their first subscription order will come 3 weeks later, unless they choose an alternate date. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually in the enrollment, it forces you to pick a date. And if you don't, it just automatically defaults to the first or the Saturday 3 weeks past their enrollment. So they enroll on a Wednesday, and then 3 weeks from that Saturday, the first subscription order would process. That the reason we did that as a default is because if somebody enrolls with, let's just say, one case of ARS, and the shipping delays that we've seen globally, not just in the US, but in every market, it means they will get their product in around anywhere from about 28 to 30 days. And we wanted to make sure people didn't run out. That's actually a big call driver in associate support, is people not getting their subscription order, their auto ship order in time. And some of the shipping delays that we faced especially those that have been COVID related in some of the foreign markets. We just wanted to make sure. So we chose that as the default date. But during the enrollment, there is actually a box that you click, choose your Saturday, and it's only Saturdays that are available. So if you have somebody that maybe got a bigger pack to start, maybe they got 4 cases, you choose right then when you want their first order to process, and then it will be the 4th Saturday after that going forward. So what we really want to do is want people to understand that it is a subscription program. We do hear that people say, oh, I didn't know I was signing up for that. I just thought it was a one-time. So it makes you stop and confirm the order with the customer or with the new associate, so they understand what they're getting. And we're just trying to eliminate confusion, not cause confusion. But if you go and look after this in your virtual office in the enrollment flow, it's all set up for that. So you choose Saturday. And again, it's within a 13-week period that you want your first subscription order to run, and then it will run every 4 weeks after that. Is that clear?
That's clear. It's just we want to remind everybody that in order to stay active, you have to have at least 100 points going through your business every 5 weeks to stay active, so that carryover volume carries over. If whatever you don't get paid on this week carries over to the future, so you can get paid on it in the future. So you want to make sure that's, that if you do pick 13 weeks out, you're not going to be active next month. So you want to make sure that you factor that into your business building plan, and also your trainings for your team. They understand that every 5 weeks they have to have at least 100 PV go through their business. For below bronze, and above bronze, you have to have 200 PV personal volume going through your business every 5 weeks to stay active for bronze and above.
Now, keep in mind, we're doing this again so that only legitimate business building behavior is in place. So that there has to be a step that you choose. And part of that is for qualification to earn a commission. So there's a lot of thought put into this. A lot of it is regulatory driven, but we want to make sure that people understand that upfront, because this business is built on sharing the product with consumers. And unless we continue that model and safeguard that model, that will be really the only thing that will get us in trouble. So we want people to understand that.
Scott, just a little off the subject we're talking about. We had a very successful free product promotion, obviously, and some of the markets were overwhelmed with the amount of product that went through. Is there any updates or anything you want to update us on in regards to that, catching up with some of the markets?
Everybody is caught up with their inventory, with the exception of New Zealand. We apologize for that. The projections were 3 times the amount that we projected they would be, is at least the final sales were. And so what's happened is we've been air freighting at great expense inventory from Sydney to Auckland to fulfill that demand. So last week, an air freight arrived to fulfill all the back orders. And then immediately there was a gap. There's another shipment arriving this week via air freight to fulfill all those orders. And then there's a scheduled sea container arriving in Auckland on the 2nd of February, which will replenish all the inventory, and there'll be no chance of back orders after that. So it's a little bumpy right now, but that was due to the success more so than any other market. It was really amazing for such a small market to maximize that. So great job. Sorry that there's orders delayed. But we're doing our best. We're going to great expense to make sure those are fulfilled. So great point, Danny. I know you probably brought that up on purpose.
It was all planned. I mean, your name was banded around, saying, let's see if Scotty can handle what we're going to do.
Yeah, it was amazing. We kept thinking it was going to drop, and we were scrambling a little bit because we had plenty of inventory to start the promotion. But it didn't work out like we thought. The other thing was we have 7 shipping containers full of product. There's about 3,000 plus cases of ASEA on each 40-foot container. And we had seven containers delayed that were going to Australia during this time. And they kept rolling back. And a lot of that was due to COVID restrictions at the port and then at the warehouse in Sydney. So we're dealing with it all over the world. And believe me, I had as much hair as Danny 2 years ago. I don't. No, and that didn't happen much. But it's been just an incredible situation, and we made it through the first year pretty well. The other thing to keep in mind with that promotion is we made a conscious decision last March to continue to produce at a heavier rate than what the sales dictated. And part of the thought process was that at the end of the year, if we had availability, we were going to give back to our customers to make sure that they knew that we cared about them. Now, there's a double-edged sword with that, because some people might not use great business ethics in using a promotion like that. But we needed something big. I don't expect it this year. I'll forewarn you, that's not going to happen again, because those are kind of one-time events that we need to really stimulate the business, and really more than anything to show appreciation for you hanging with us during difficult times. And it did kind of correspond with the price increase coming, and some of the markets have been adjusted with their pricing so that each market pays the same according to what we call a peg rate, which is the foreign currency exchange. So you're going to see some adjustments there, and some markets really maximize that and use it to build teams and to share the product. And so that's why we did that. But yes, there's a little bit of delay in New Zealand. And if I could, I'd come out there and personally thank everyone in New Zealand, but I'll get back out on the road eventually. And maybe that will be my first stop, just to say thank you for being so successful.
They did an amazing job. Yeah. Just quickly, I know we haven't got much time, and Cindy, I know you want to jump in again. Can you enlighten us, or is it too early, on how we did last year, company-wise, with sales?
I can say that we grew, and that we had another highly profitable year, and that was due to the extreme efforts of all of our corporate team, making sure that we were minimizing all costs as we could. But yeah, we did have another growth year, which is important that we keep that growth going. I won't tell you exactly how much. I don't know if I'm at liberty to tell you, but we did grow.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the team looked at it from a company point of view, and knew what we wanted to achieve, what we needed to achieve by the end of the year. So, yeah, extremely happy and proud of everybody.
Yeah, we did, and there is a kind of a subset to that. Is a lot of people don't understand this, but the corporation or the corporate team is bonused based on us hitting our top line sales and our profitability goals. Something that we did this year was those that most would consider work the hardest, which are those that work in the associate support, and those that work at our production facility, actually received a double bonus this year. And we were able only to do that by running the promotion and making sure we hit both our top line and our bottom line sales initiatives and profitability. So if nothing else, thank you for promoting that and getting the word out. And it made a massive difference to about half of our corporate employees, that to double their bonus on December 20th. And they didn't know about it. There was many people that came and talked to me and said, I think there was a mistake on my paycheck. And they were very sheepish about saying that. And I said, no, it's actually correct. We extended forward. We knew that the projections were that we were going to exceed the previous year. And thank you for allowing us to do that. That was a great thing that we were able to do to help out a lot of people.
That's awesome.
We know how hard those guys work. So just to be clear about the subscription program, this is just the first week that it's been implemented. So going forward, this will just kind of run like clockwork every Saturday. So I know this week when people maybe opened their computer over the weekend and looked at their dashboard, oh my gosh, it must be the day, or maybe they didn't know or whatever, but it's, a little, might have been a little bit shocking, but going forward, this is the way it's going to be. Every Saturday, those subscription orders will be collected. And then every 4 weeks, those subscription orders will be sent out again, unless an alternate week has been selected.
That's
right?
correct. Yes. Great job. You should have done all the explanation.
No. I just want to make it real clear so that we have good communication between corporate and the field, so people feel fully informed and feel really confident going forward in the changes that are being made, that they're being made for the benefit of the field and the benefit of the business.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that, Cindy.
Yeah. Any final words before we let you wrap it up and maybe have some dinner and go to sleep for the night before you start all over tomorrow morning?
At least there was leftovers in the refrigerator that I already rated, so that was good. Maybe just a parting word is, we all talk about our 6 words of leadership. I hope you talk about that with your teams, and I'll give you my first 2. My first 2 are seek truth. And the reason I share that with you is, let's all make sure we have the full story before we make a comment. We call that having a micro view and a macro opinion. Seek truth. There's always 2 sides, and it always will turn out the best. Truth is absolute, and seek means you got to work to find it. And so as we push this business forward, you will always find that you will, if you seek the truth, you will find it, whether it's in your personal life, your professional life, your spiritual life, whatever section it is, but you got to work at it. And that's what seek means. It means you just don't surface look, like when my wife is trying to find her car keys. It means you got to really remember, and you got to really focus on something. So seek truth in your business, seek truth in your personal life, and you'll always come out on top. And I've tried to live that. I'm not always perfect at it, as none of us are perfect, but let's make sure that we're tolerant, we love one another, but more than anything, seek truth.
Sounds great. Scott, thank you so much for taking some time with us tonight. And we'll sound off for tonight so you can end the day. I hope you don't.
Start it again tomorrow. I'm happy
right.
to do it. Thank you so much.
That's right. Thanks so much, Scott. Really appreciate you and everything you do. All righty.
Thanks, Matt. I think it's still early enough to say have a great new year, everybody, and great to have you on board for the next 10 to 20, Scott.
All right, great. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everybody.